Hi kids, welcome to Miss Nancy's Bible Study, Bible School for Kids. I'm glad you're here. This is part 2 of Encounters with Angels. I want to remind you about my favorite verse, or one of them in the Bible, Hebrews 13:2, and it says, you guys should learn this, it'd be fun for you to know. Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, thereby some have entertained angels unawares. In other words, guys, you might share a piece of candy with a kid, or be nice to an elderly woman, or a gentleman on a cane, but just be careful when you're around people to treat them right, because you never know. You might be entertaining an angel. Don't you love thinking about that? So today we're going to go with 3 more stories of angel encounters. Remember, Miss Nancy's told you that sometimes it calls them angels, sometimes it calls them men, sometimes it calls them an angel, or the angel of the Lord, which we know who that is. And sometimes it's called the angel of God. So all that's fascinating. But we're going to start today in the book of Joshua, chapter 5. And this is when all the Israelites have just crossed and they're taking the new land. They've left from the river and quit wandering through the wilderness. And they get to the new land and they've been eating the manna. Well, now that manna has ceased and they're starting to eat the old corn. But right after this, they start eating and thriving in the new land. And Joshua looks up, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's go on. There won't be no questions and answers. Miss Nancy just wants you to listen with all your heart, okay? It came to pass when Joshua was by Jericho that he lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, there stood a man over against him with a sword drawn in his hand. And Joshua went unto him and said unto him, Art thou for us, or for our adversaries? Adversaries, I'll get it right sooner or later. Are you for us or against us, in other words? And this man said, Nay, that means no, but as captain of the host of the Lord am I now come. He's telling him, I'm in charge. I'm sent here to do this job. And Joshua fell on his face to the earth and did worship, and said unto him, What saith my Lord unto his servant? Joshua fell into place. He knew this was something special. And the captain of the Lord's host said unto Joshua, Loose thy shoe from off thy foot, for the place whereon thou standest is holy. And guess what Joshua did? Joshua took his shoes off. He did what the angel told him. This was the captain of the host of the Lord. And Joshua didn't know it. But how did Joshua see him? As a man. Because he went to him to ask him, what side are you on? But anyway, that's just that little snippet of that about Joshua, who was a mighty, mighty captain in the Lord's army and his people. And then we're going to go to Judges, chapter 13. Y'all know this story. But this is 2 people that encounters an angel. It's Manoah and his wife. And we don't know her name, but let's get started. There was a certain man of Zorah of the family of the Danites, whose name was Manoah, and his wife was barren and bare not. Kids, that means she didn't have any children. How could she be happy without kids? Anyway, and the angel of the Lord, we know who that is, Jesus himself, appeared unto the woman and said unto her, Behold now, thou art barren, and bearest not, but thou shalt conceive, and bear a son. So shall we know she's going to have a baby, and it's going to be a boy. Now therefore beware, I pray thee. So he starts telling her what some things she needs to do. And drink not wine, nor strong drink, and eat not any unclean thing. For lo, thou shalt conceive, and bear a son. And no razor shall come on his head. And here's why. For the child shall be a Nazarite unto God from the womb. And he shall begin to deliver Israel out of the hand of the Philistines. Then the woman came and told her husband, saying, a man of God came unto me, and his countenance was like the countenance of an angel of God. A man of God came, and his countenance was like an angel of God. Very terrible. Now, I imagine this is either very powerful looking, very big, maybe, I don't know, with a glow. I have no idea. But I asked him not whence he was, neither told me his name. But he said unto me, Behold, thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and now drink no wine nor strong drink, neither eat any unclean thing. For the child shall be a Nazarite unto God from the womb to the day of his death. And boy, this prophecy comes true. And I'll tell you who the boy is later at the end of this story. Then Manoah entreated the Lord and said, O my Lord, let the man of God which thou didst send come again unto us and teach us what we shall do unto the child that shall be born. And God hearkened to the voice of Manoah. Remember, he said, let the man of God come. And the angel of God came again unto the woman as she sat in the field. But Manoah, her husband, was not with her. And the woman made haste, that means she hurried, and ran, and showed her husband, and said unto him, Behold, the man hath appeared unto me, that came unto me the other day. And Manoah arose and went after his wife, and came to the man, not the angel, and said unto him, Art thou the man that spakest unto the woman? And he said, I am. Now Manoah said, Now let thy words come to pass. How shall we order the child? And how shall we do unto him? And the angel of the Lord said unto Manoah, Of all that I said unto the woman, let her beware. She may not eat of anything that cometh of the vine, neither let her drink wine nor strong drink, nor eat anything unclean. All that I commanded her, let her observe. And Manoah said unto the angel of the Lord, I pray thee, let us detain thee until we shall have made ready a calf, a kid for thee. Sorry about that. And the angel of the Lord said unto Manoah, Though thou detain me, I will not eat of thy bread. And if thou wilt offer a burnt offering, thou must offer it unto the Lord. For Manoah knew not that he was an angel of the Lord. See what Miss Nancy's saying? Angel, man, angel. Same thing, one and the same. And Manoah said unto the angel of the Lord, What is thy name? That when these thy sayings come to pass, we may do thee honor. And the angel of the Lord said unto him, Why askest thou thus after my name, seeing it is a secret? So Manoah took a kid, not a child, but a little goat or a little lamb, with a meat offering, and offered it upon the rock unto the Lord. And the angel did wondrously, and Manoah and his wife looked on. Here's what the angel did. For it came to pass, when the flame went up toward heaven from off the altar, that the angel of the Lord ascended. That means that he went up too, in the flame of the altar. And Manoah and his wife looked on it, and fell on their faces to the ground. But the angel of the Lord did no more appear to Manoah and to his wife. Then Manoah knew, he didn't before this, that he was an angel of the Lord. And Manoah said to his wife, We shall surely die, because we have seen God. No, his wife had it right. She said, Why would he let us see all this if he was going to kill us? But we don't know Manoah's wife's name. We know Manoah's name, and guess whose parents these end up being? Samson's parents. So they knew when they saw him to fall down, and then when he went up, until then he just thought it was a man, but yet he knew something special was about him. But then he rose up in the flame of the fire. I called this book that I wrote about this Up in Flames. But now that's the second couple that went. Let's go to the next story in 1 Chronicles chapter 21. Miss Nancy has done this lesson before. It's called David's Three Choices. And in the very first verse of chapter 21 in 1 Chronicles, it says, Satan stood up against Israel and provoked David to number Israel. Well, in another place in the Bible, and they call this a contradiction, but it's not. It said God had David to number it. But what happened is God put it in Satan's heart to get David to number Israel, but it still wasn't right. And so I just want you to know there's no contradictions in the Bible, and especially the King James Bible, because it is the real Word of God. Every word that He wanted us to have is in it. Kids, if you ever pick up something called an NIV or ASV or American Standard or any of that garbage, just put it in the garbage where it belongs. You need a King James 1611 Bible. If you don't have one, you can get hold of me at Trinity Baptist in Helenwood, Tennessee, and we'll get you one. Let's get on with the story. Okay. Now, this is the Lord speaking to David's seer, who is named Gad. And here's what he says. Go and tell David, saying, Thus saith the Lord, I offer thee 3 things. Choose thee one of them, that I may do it unto you, to thee. So Gad came to David and said unto him, Thus saith the Lord, choose thee. Number 1, either 3 years of famine, or 3 months to be destroyed from thy foes, while that the sword of thine enemies overtake you. In other words, you're running for your life for 3 months and everybody's going to be out to get you, David. Or else, the third choice, 3 days of the sword of the Lord, even the pestilence in the land, and the angel of the Lord, destroying throughout all the coast of Israel. Now, therefore, advise thyself what word I shall bring again unto him that sent me. So he's saying, David, God says you got 3 choices. Make one, and then tell me what you're going to do so I can go back and tell him what your choice is. So David said unto Gad, I am in a great strait. Let me fall now into the hand of the Lord, for very great are his mercies. But let me not fall into the hand of man. Man don't do you right. Man don't judge right. We're as wicked as the next fellow. So the Lord sent pestilence. He said, let me fall into his hands for mercies. Let me not fall in the hand of man. And then he says this. So the Lord sent pestilence upon Israel. And here's what it cost to Israel and what David cost it by doing this. There fell of Israel 70,000 men. It don't say nothing about women and children, but 70,000 men. And God sent an angel unto Jerusalem to destroy it. This is his own city, his chosen city. And he, as he was destroying, the Lord beheld. He watched this destroying angel, and that is what it was. And God sent him to destroy all of Jerusalem and take out some lives. But the Lord beheld him, and he repented of the evil. And this is what he said. He said to the angel that destroyed, It is enough. Stay now thine hand. He changed his mind, guys. And we can pray and we can change God's heart and mind. That's how important prayer is. Miss Nancy wants you praying all the time. And the angel of the Lord stood by the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. And David lifted up his eyes and saw the angel of the Lord stand between the earth and heaven, having a drawn sword in his hand, stretched out over Jerusalem. Then David and the elders of Israel, who were clothed in sackcloth. Sackcloth means they were mourning. They were so sad for all that was happening, and they fell upon their faces. And David said unto Gad, Is it not I that commanded the people to be numbered? He's taking the blame, putting it exactly where it needs to go. Even I it is that have sinned and done evil indeed. But as for these sheep, what have they done? He's begging the Lord, let thine hand, and this takes a mighty brave man to say something like this, but you can tell David's heart was right. He said, It is I that have sinned and done evil indeed. But as for these sheep, what have they done? Let thine hand, I pray thee, O Lord my God, be on me. Miss Nancy would be so scared to pray that, but if I could get my heart right, I'd be able to pray it for you guys if I had to. And on my Father's house. In other words, he's saying, Lord, take this vengeance, this blood that you're needing, this sacrifice, and just take it from me and my family. Don't do it to these sheep. They didn't do nothing. But not on thy people, that they should be plagued. Then the angel of the Lord, which we know is Jesus, back in his spirit form, commanded Gad to say to David that David should go up and set up an altar unto the Lord in the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. And David went up at the saying of Gad, which he spake in the name of the Lord. And Ornan turned back and saw the angel, and his 4 sons with him hid themselves. It must have been a terrible sight and bloody, no doubt. Now Ornan was threshing wheat. And as David came to Ornan, Ornan looked and saw David, and went out of the threshing floor and bowed himself to David with his face to the ground. Then David said to Ornan, grant me the place of this threshing floor, that I may build an altar therein unto the Lord. Thou shalt grant it to me for full price, that the plague may be stayed from thy people. And Ornan said unto David, and here's what I hope we can say, kids, take it to thee, and let my lord the king do that which is good in his eyes. Lo, I give of the oxen also for burnt offerings, and the threshing instruments of wood for wood, and the wheat for the meat offering. And then here's what I wanted you to know. Ornan said, I give it all. How much do we give, guys? In one day, how much time do you or I'm talking to Miss Nancy, spend watching TV, playing a video game, playing with our friends? There's nothing wrong with any of those, except if we do it so much that we don't have time for the Lord. Give it all to him. The more time you give to God, the more praying you do, going to church, telling others about Jesus, that is going to be waiting on you when you get to heaven. So I'm encouraging you, give it all to the Lord. Take a little time of a morning to bow at your knees and pray right when you get up out of bed. Pray over your food. Take the time to bow on your knees and pray to him before you go to bed. And someday you'll see you got rewards. And you just look through down here, because this ain't our home. Heaven is our long home, like we talked about in Bible school. You're going to spend your long home in one of 2 places, heaven or hell. Miss Nancy's told you how to get to heaven, and I trust that I'm going to see every one of you there. Anyway, and King David said to Ornan, no, but I will verily buy it for the full price. For I will not take that which is thine for the Lord, nor offer burnt offerings without cost. So David gave to Ornan for the place 600 shekels of gold by weight. And David built there an altar unto the Lord, and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings, and called upon the Lord. And he answered him from heaven by fire upon the altar of the burnt offering. And the Lord commanded the angel, and he put up his sword again into his sheath thereof. And at that time, when David saw that the Lord had answered him in the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite, then he sacrificed there. For the tabernacle of the Lord, which Moses made in the wilderness, and the altar for the burnt offering, were at that season in the high place at Gibeon. But David could not go before it. Why? To inquire of God? For he was afraid because of the sword of the angel of the Lord. Guys, I just want you to know about angels. They're here. They're powerful beings. Some of them we know by names. Some of them we don't. We know who the angel of the Lord is, though. So please be aware. God's always watching and listening, and angels want to look at the things you're doing. And that makes Miss Nancy, Nosy Nancy, want to look at the things they do. So I hope you enjoy this. I know I have. I'll see you next time, babies. Bye-bye.